Hey, what's up all you learners out there in Learning Land? Tyler from tenthumsbproductions.com coming at you with another ukulele tutorial like we do every single Wednesday and Saturday. Today we're talking about how to turn licks into solos and how to practice solos by practicing individual licks. All 5 of today's licks come from our Tasty Lick Challenge. Each individual lick has a link. Lick has a link below as well, so you can practice these licks individually. But today we're going to put them together. Printable tabs by becoming a Patreon. But right now I'm going to ask you just to grab your brain before we grab their ukulele. And go ahead and get your intention span ready too. A lick is also something that is known as a phrase. When learning a new solo, the very first thing that you should do is identify the licks or the phrases. Okay, so how do you do that? The best way is to kind of try to scat with them, you know, or hum along with them and notice where you will breathe. So if you have a solo, everything laid out in front of you, and you have all the tabs laid out, the very first thing to do is try to sing along with those and see where you breathe. Those are your licks or your phrases. For the solo that we're going to be doing today, each of our licks lasts 2 bars with the exception of our 4-bar turnaround lick. But you should notice that when you're doing this exercise with other solos, sometimes licks will start before the measure or the bar, and sometimes there'll be 2 bars, 3 bars, sometimes 4 bars, sometimes half a bar. Really think about when you're breathing and the vocal elements of it. If they were spoken, where would the period be? Where would the comma be? The punctuation will identify the lick. Once you have identified each lick individually, the next step is to practice them individually. And that's exactly what we did with this Tasty Lick Challenge. Once you've done that, and better yet, if you're doing it to a metronome or you're practicing your timing, the next step is to put the licks together. Over a 12-bar blues, I like to do this 4 bars at a time. Maybe in the first 4 measures I have 2 licks, in the second 4 measures I have 2 licks. I like to practice those first 2 licks together and then the next 2 licks together. And then we put them together again after that. By breaking any solo down into smaller pieces, specifically licks, what you're going to do is accelerate your learning, improve your counting, and improve your phrasing. You can go deeper into improving your phrasing by looking at the note choice. What notes are emphasized over each chord? Is the scale changing? Are they chord tones? Are they arpeggios? A solo can consist of multiple scales, although it doesn't always do that. That's mostly typical in blues, and it can also consist of arpeggios, which is just elaborate collections of chord tones. Chord tones meaning notes from the chord. For example, if the chord is an A7, your chord tones would be A, C sharp, E, and G, the 4 notes making up an A7 chord. Even if you're soloing with the scale, it's good to know the chord tones in the scale and target those over the chords to make your melody stick to the progression more. And overall make it sound just a little more professional now, baby. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all these ideas. That was the largest bee I have ever seen. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all these ideas to test. How are we gonna do that? We're gonna take the 5 licks that we learned in our Tasty Lick Challenge and we're gonna put them to a backing track and play them as a full solo. It's kind of reverse engineering. If this is the first video that you've seen, you should go back and do each of those licks individually. We have lessons with other solos too. Tennessee Whiskey, we did the full solo. Comfortably Numb, anyone? But what I wanna do is reverse engineer it with this lesson first, show you how you learn the licks, and then put the licks to the solo, and then you can go to those other lessons and apply the same ideas. Identify the licks of the phrases, practice them individually, move your hands like this, because that indicates that something is happening. I'm parking an airplane, over there, over there, over there. And then you put them all together in the solo. Okay, so now that you still have your brain and attention span, why don't you go ahead and grab your ukulele. Follow me on in. I'm gonna give you a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're gonna play the whole solo with the tabs on the screen, all right? If you haven't done the licks yet, go ahead and throw this up and see what your sight reading on tabs is too, and try to play through it one time as well. Or try to identify the licks in this solo if you're not sure which ones are the licks, so that way you can start this process already. All right, go ahead, follow me on in. Let's grab this 4 count and let's shred it out. Let's do it. thank you so much for watching to the very end. We appreciate you at tenthumsbproductions.com. Again, think about becoming a Patreon. New lessons every single Wednesday and Saturday. Go up in those links. You'll see 10 Thumbs t-shirts, as well as links to becoming a Patreon, with tabs for every single lesson, plus bonus goods. Bony goods like the neck bone, femur, maybe the tibula, the coccyx. Some bonus goods up there that include backing tracks and things like that as well. All right, baby. Have a good day. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Life is good. Enjoy shredding some epic solos. Take care of yourselves.